So this is my Syngonium Albo. It's the Syngonium Albo Variegatum, to be specific. And I am going to cut it off so that we can inspect if there's any root growth going on within this cup right here. So as I'm doing this thing has just grown into long, leggy vines, right? They're going in different directions, and I don't want to be careful not to break any of them as I'm trying to untangle them. And you see how long and leggy that vine is coming from where the cup is at, right? So this one has no variegation. This is why I wanted to air layer this, because of this right here. I had one main branch, and then later it formed a second one coming off this way. And I didn't notice until months later, that as it kept growing, that I had zero variegation on these leaves on the right. So say for instance, on this left side, I have nodes that are coming from the bottom right here of this left side where all the variegation is at. I gotta cut this off. So say for instance, I wanted to propagate these vines right here with all the variegation on them, and I cut it off right here. So now I took this piece off, and all I have is this, right? Only a couple with variegation on them. But say for instance, a vine grew from this stem. Now the vine going out this way from this stem, as an example, if it didn't have any variegation on it, that's possible. But I do have variegation here. And I think this is what happened with this side, is at some point I took a cutting off of this branch, and it encouraged growth to come out and form up this branch on the right. But later is when I realized that there is no variegation on any of the leaves on this side. So I decided to put a cup with some soil on this vine here. I don't see any roots coming out, but I am going to cut it off to show you any progression down below. So here we go. Got to be careful when I snip this off to ensure I'm snipping the right branch. These sticky traps work, guys. Okay, so I snipped it off. So now we got just one long, ugly vine. Let's see if this actually did anything in there. I'll open it up slowly, and let's see if there's anything that formed root-wise inside this cup. I'm gonna try to break some of this off. This cup is slowly coming off. I'm gonna try to keep as much soil as possible on this cup, which it took off some. Okay, which is okay. I still got some clumps around here, all right? So I took off the cup. It was, pretty dried out, but that's what happens when you have this perlite in here and you allow a lot of aeration and airflow. It allows the roots to breathe and start growing, which is what you see here. You see those roots that formed from the node right here. Although they're all green leaves, this right here is going to be its own new plant. So it's still considered an albo, because later, maybe, as it continues to grow and vine out, there may be a chance where, which I highly doubt, but there may be a chance where I'll get another variegated leaf on this new plant here. Just wanted to show you the root growth on this vine here from the Syngonium Albo that's growing all funky looking. But this is a new free plant with roots. So here she is. You guys saw the root, how big it was coming off of the vine of the Syngonium Albo. But now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit. I did throw her in a small 3-inch cup because the root ball is not that big. You don't wanna put something that small of the root ball that you saw from this vine into a large pot like this. See the comparison in size? So when this happens and you put a plant like this in a pot like this, look at all the space in between, or the difference in space where you would put more soil in the larger pot, right? And where the roots are from the Syngonium. And what ends up happening a lot of times is because of all the soil medium that you have in this larger pot, and you place your root ball in, that what happens is once you water, you're not only trying to water the roots in your new plant, what you're also doing is watering all the soil that's in this pot, right? It's more volume size that you gotta keep moist of soil within this pot versus in a smaller pot like this. So what ends up happening is in a pot like this, you water this pot frequently because you want the roots to grow on this new branch or vine, but the soil remains moist almost constantly. Even though you try to wait for this soil to dry out as much as possible, what ends up happening is that root ball is searching for water. It's searching for a water source. So the longer you have it moist in this cup right here, yeah, the more it's going to be searching for a water source, or for water or nutrients, that in time, because it's so big, you're going to start getting bacteria, fungus. That's when you have gnats that are going to come in searching for a warm, moist environment, right? And then they lay those eggs, and now you're infested with gnats. To whereas, just use a smaller pot, let the roots develop in this smaller pot where you can manage and prevent any bad things from happening, like bacteria, fungus, or gnats or insects doing their business in this warm environment here. You can control this smaller cup much better and easier than a larger pot like this, right? This pot right here. So this is a 3-inch pot. This one right here is a 5. I like these clear pots because I can see the root development going on the inside. Right now you can't see it, but you see a lot of perlite in there. It allows for good airflow and water drainage. But inside the soil is a lot of peat. A lot of peat maintains that moisture, though. It kind of balances it out for soil like this whenever you're trying to get your roots to get established, right? You don't want to keep them in soggy soil all the time, but then again, you don't want them in dry soil either. So you get a perfect mixture, and you control the environment by using smaller cups like this. In my opinion, this is just a better way of managing diseases and pests and allowing your roots to grow in a safe environment, in a controlled environment, versus in a container where there's so much volume of soil that it's more space in there that's needed to fill your roots in. Your roots don't need that much space to grow in. All right, so go and leave a comment or question if you have any, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, thanks for watching.